Alright guys, let's get started so we can get out of here sooner rather than later. Just like last time. Alright, shush. Just like last time, I'm going to come around with a colored piece of paper, give you your category, your time frame, and we're going to do the same thing, make a giant timeline. Okay, so sooner is obviously better than later, so you can all go home and relax. Okay? Alright, so as soon as I give it to you, you can go ahead and get started. Alright? Exciting.
No, I was trying to skip it.
Don't give her. I'll give her my favorite.
When he stands up in his picture.
Why do you even have a website? Thursday and Friday. Ready, guys? Okay, everybody, quiet down. We're going to get started. So, yes, those of you that got your assigned time periods and subjects, keep working. But we're going to start time period 1. That's the Foundations era, 8,000 to about 600 BCE. Remember, if they give you a time frame that crosses the CE, you're going to have to be specific when you're writing your essays. Don't shoot yourself in the foot with not labeling the BC versus the CE. Okay? So this is foundations period. Hi, Nehemiah. And it's politics.
Join any group. Go. Go. All right.
Well, we had two civilizations in the Americas. We had the Olmecs in Mesoamerica and the Chauvin in South America. And there was little known about their political systems, but they had kingships, and they'd combine religious and secular responsibilities in the major cities. And the political elites had lavish lifestyles, and the Chauvin encompassed economical zones.
Wow, don't worry about economics.
They connected and controlled trade routes, and they diffused politically organizations.
Okay, good enough. All right, good. Nope, you got to put it on the board.
Sorry.
All right. All right. Time period 2, 600 to 600. Politics. Go.
During this time period, the Olmec and the Chauvin were still functioning about halfway through, and then they began to collapse, the Maya rose to power. They never unified politically. They mostly consisted of competing agrarian kingdoms, bound only by culture.
All right. Politics. Time period 3.
It's on the board there now.
Go ahead. Politics. Time period 3. Be able to label which Indian tribe we're talking about, Native American tribe.
All right, shush.
So in time period 3, which is 600 to 1450, you had warfare that intensified and is becoming more frequent and involving more people as competition for land increases. They had centralized, strong government, and it maintained a large army and post-classical America. The Toltecs unified Mexico and grew in Mesoamerica based on their military tactics. They conquered lands from Tula south to Central America, including many of the areas formerly controlled by the Mayans. Toltecs had 2 rulers at a time, and the Aztecs, also known as the Mexica, arrived in Central America and built their capital at Tenochtitlan, and was ruled by militaristic aristocrats who lived centered on conquest. And then you had the Incas, who were set in the Andes Mountains, and they controlled the land by using a professional army, and they established a bureaucracy.
What about the mound builder?
Does anybody remember anything about the mound builders in this country?
They built mounds, but that's all we really know about them.
Yes, they built mounds. Thank you. Okay, some of them, yes. There's the Anasazi. They're not really mound builders, though. Okay, but again, don't forget North America and South America. Okay, those groups should be in on that time period. All right, now we're gonna get the fun stuff with the conquistadors.
Yeah.
Time period 4. Politics. Let's go.
Socialism.
All right, quiet down.
Alright, is it working? The Europeans colonized America from 1450 to 1750. This was also the formation of joint-style companies, and they gained independence from Latin American colonies. Governments operated more independently from the kings, with assemblies and less elaborate bureaucracies. Labor systems included slavery and indentured servitude. The Amerindians were usually pushed aside, and less elaborate bureaucracies. And that was it.
That's way too much about economics. You stole the economics.
That was all we had. Okay.
What political systems do you have?
The bureaucracy.
No. Political systems.
Political.
They're all governed by what?
They're all governed by
Which are what?
they are
What kind of system are they in?
dictatorship.
Monarchies.
Monarchy.
Remember Pedro?
Lots of monarchies.
Alright, go.
Don't forget the monarchy. Monarchy. Alright, time period 5. Come on up, Nehemiah.
We believe in you.
Testing? Oh, okay, alright.
Quiet down. Thank
Um,
you.
Well, the United States separated from Britain because of tea taxing, and we weren't really happy about that. So the United States became a separate nation from Britain. Independence was becoming a common thing in America, like United States. And
You're so America-centric.
okay, and Haiti,
And our neighbors to the north?
and Canada,
Eh?
and the North Pole, Santa Claus.
No!
All right, so America becomes capitalist. Canada is still still connected to Britain. I don't know about the North Pole.
It's not in our continents, don't worry about it.
It's right up
No,
there.
it's not!
Okay, okay. And I think and South America, I think is still connected to Spain. Are they getting their independence from Spain?
Yeah, they do.
They get their independence from Spain and Portugal.
There you go.
Mexico, yeah, and Venezuela, and Chile,
Alright,
and Panama,
sis.
and Brazil.
You're just naming countries. Give me that.
Alright, last time period 6, politics. Okay, who has the sign-in sheet? It should be going around. Where is the sign-in sheet? Hurry up, Harishi. Okay, so we're gonna start off with World War One.
Alright, guys, quiet. Thank you.
We're gonna start off with World War One, where the U.S. later joined the Allied powers, and then the U.S. joined the war in 1917, where most of our soldiers went to the West Front, and then there was nationalization, where they fought for their pride. In 1930s, there was the Great Depression. In 1924, the U.S. sponsored the Taoist Plan. And then in World War II, it started 1445, and then there was 1945. Sorry. Okay. And then there was the Cold War, where the U.S. fought.
Nehemiah, this isn't your group. Be quiet.
Then there was the Cold War, where the U.S. fought the USSR. And then the Cuban Missile Crisis, which was in 1962.
Guys, quiet.
And then after 9/11, there was the War on Terror.
You want to mention something about South America?
In South America, there was the Mexican Revolution, which is in 1910 to 1920.
That's all. That's not even.
Okay, today's review session, guys, all of you that haven't gone, please correct this mistake. Okay, it's both the Americas, North and South, including Central America, not just North America, and certainly not just the United States. Okay, there's a lot going on in South America at this time. Okay, you have a lot of socialism. All right, next we got economics at the first time period. It should be very simple and quick. Okay.
we said that since the Americas were like completely cut off from other places, that their agriculture was independent. But however, their agriculture was the base of their economy. Just them. And
Okay, yes, agriculture is the basis of their economy, and you might want to note that we don't have any money yet. Okay, barter system. All right, time period 2. All right, we're skipping over time period 2 economics because somebody didn't do it. So now we're going to jump right to time period 3 economics, and these latecomers over here are going to do it. All right, quiet down. Time period 3 economics.
I'm gonna stand back here because I can't get out. Okay, so we have the Inca, the Mayans, and the Aztecs. The Inca, or their primary source of labor was human because they didn't have any large animals. They had the Metat system, which was the peasants had to give a portion of their food to the upper class. They had a surplus of food which supported large cities, and they didn't have any private property. The Mayans conquered territory to acquire slaves, and that was pretty much like, that was what they did. They just conquered territory for slaves, not like for territory. And then the Aztecs conquered people so that they could pay taxes and tributes and grow their economy that way.
Yep. All right, time period 4. Economics.
Viva la Canada!
Okay. So, everybody situated here? Yes, okay. Okay, well, so we're doing the economics and time period 4, which is like 1450 to 1750. You've got Columbian Exchange, which is the global diffusion of like crops and stuff and all that, like from the area over there and that area over there on the map, which is Europe and the no, America. Yeah, that one. Okay, and then like from the Americas, they had stuff like beans and squash and tomatoes and sweet potatoes and peanuts and chilies and chocolate and maize and potatoes and avocados, pineapple. Yeah, okay, you get the idea. So all those kind of crops, and then you've got the Middle Passage, which is a leg of the Atlantic Circuit, where part of that big trade network, right? Okay, and that went from like Africa kind of area over to the New World, where they brought some slaves and other products from Africa. And then in the lower area of the Americas, you've got your encomienda system of required labor and your silver mines and all that, and your plantation. And then you, in some areas of the Americas, you have your indentured servitude, which is when you, like in order to pay for the travel from Europe to the Americas, as people started showing up, people would work for around 7 years. People would work for about 7 years to pay off their like debts for traveling over there. And then part of the exploration and settlement of North America, like that's sort of economics related, is your joint stock company, which is your, like basically your Dutch East India Company, and they traded spice and luxury stuff of East India to the Americas. And that's all.
All right, next time period 5, economics. All right, please make sure the sign-in sheet gets all the way around. It's not Tarishi's fault.
Okay. Hello? Okay, time period 5 economics. Time period 5 economics for the U.S. was that this is from 1750 to 1914. So in the U.S. there are different the different taxes on the British colonies in North America caused resentment, and this led to the American Revolution, which basically the colonists wanted capitalism and they were tired of having their economy controlled by Britain. So this caused the American Revolution, and then later on, you have the Civil War, which encouraged more industrialization, and since there was no more, with the abolition of slavery, there becomes like a larger working class. In Latin America, those big plantations that make most of the money, and it's usually the land-owning class, which is a small elite group that owns most of the land. And the slave labor was used. It was important in Brazil. Brazil was a Portuguese colony, and the abolition of slavery made the land-owning class revolt, so that returned into a republic. The Catholic Church owned most of the land in Latin America, and this so the church basically controlled most any social or political reforms that were going on. Latin America also exported exclusively to Europe, so their economy wasn't very diverse. It was mainly just unfinished products like sugar, coffee, and rubber. They bought back the finished products. But there were two differences. In Chile and Argentina, they had a growing middle class because of the social reform. And basically, in Latin America, this was a form of economic imperialism. Most colonies would not be free from their European mother countries until the early 1900s.
All right, last time period.
Okay, so in the U.S., there was the stock market crash in 1929, and the rest of the world was affected because the primary producing economies in Latin America relied on the U.S. to buy the products, and then this led to the Great Depression. In Latin America, many countries turned to import substitution industrialization, so they produced for themselves what they had previously made before, or bought before. And then after globalization, the U.S. began to exploit the workers from other nations like China because they were a source of cheap labor. And then also after globalization, there were new organizations such as NAFTA and NATO.
You also want to take note that there are massive migrations to South America post World War I and II, right? So this is why you get Italian people in South America, okay, and Japanese people in South America. Demographic shifts are always important. Yes, the Nazis are all hiding in Argentina, okay? Because they found a sympathetic dictator there who wouldn't turn them over to The Hague. All right, social, cultural, time period 1. Oh wait, ladies over there, did you get economics time period 2 done? Are you ready? All right, we'll keep working. All right, social, cultural, time period 1.
Okay, so from 8000 BCE to 600 BCE, we have a lot of social interactions in Central and South America. In Central America, we get the Olmec, who are the rubber people, and they become the Mayan ancestors. They have sharp class distinctions with like the top having elaborate lifestyles. They have an urban societies with large building structures. They have writing and a calendar with 365 days. They have domestication of some animals. The priests are the elite and they perform elaborate rituals. The artisans are skilled and they have giant heads. Well, statues. Giant head statues. And they're like statues of like the famous people in their tribe. The artisans work with like a lot of jade and stuff, and there are merchants, but because we're still we're in the we're in the Western Hemisphere, and we haven't had Europe interactions yet. We have little trade. The Shaman, which are like in the mountains of like modern day Peru. Well, they're all polytheistic, and these guys have like a jaguar god. So like the jaguar is like really symbolic. Llamas are used, and they have stone carvings. In North America, we had like few Indian tribes until like the 1400s when Europe came in. So there's just like a lot of migrations from North America.
All right. Social cultural time period 2.
Okay. The Olmec was ending in this time period. They had like a hierarchical authoritarian society, and the Chauvin also ended in this time period. But the Maya began around 300 BC, and they had city-states, and they were pyramid builders, and majority of the people were slaves or peasants, and the merchants, kings, and priests were the hereditary nobility at the top of the social hierarchies. They had a complex calendar system, and they believed that the gods created humans out of maize and water. They studied the cosmos, and they believed that warfare had blood.
Why do you think they have so many human sacrifices? It's
Okay.
blood anymore.
This I didn't write this. This isn't my time period.
You're still taking the exam.
Blood. Yeah. Okay, and they had bloodletting.
Okay, so time period 3, 600 BCE to 600 CE. They had a 614. Time period 3. Alright, I'm sorry. Alright, so they had sacrifices in the Mayan, Aztec, and Incan societies. The warriors were the elite in the social structure, and the bottom of it was peasants and slaves. So it was warriors, peasants, and slaves. They had roads, and the Aztecs also had like transportation systems like the Romans. They had chinampas, which were like floating gardens. The Aztec women couldn't inherit property. They ran the households. They made skilled crafts, and they had a lot of weaving. Then the Inca women worked in the fields. They weaved as well, and they also cared in the household. Moving on, well, the Inca also had the Mita system, where each peasant owned compulsory labor services to the Inca state. So they had to work for this amount of time, and then they got their. And moving on to North America, there was the Anasazi. They constructed adobe buildings called the pueblos, which included ritual enclosures called the kivas.
Sure, I will have
All right, next time period.
Okay, so this is time period 4, 1450 to 1750, and in 1519, Hernan Cortez introduced Catholicism, which spreaded their religion in South America, and their social class was peninsulars, which were the Europeans, and then the Criollas, which were born to Spanish, the Mestizos, which were part European and part Native American or African, and then and then the mulattoes, which were the slaves. The Aztec and the Inca populations were wiped out. Cultures exchanged during the Columbian exchange, goods, techniques, animals, food, resources, and it was mostly slave trade, and they also had indentured servants.
Nice. Well done. All right, next one.
So, anyways, okay, so in Latin America, they had like the whites and the Creoles and the gens de couleur and the slaves and all that, and they had the Maroons, which were like the runaway slaves, and another like social thing was the Haitian Revolution, which was like the only successful slave revolt. We had the Peninsulares, the Mestizos and the Mulattoes. We had the Juntas. The middle class did not emerge because of all the like rebellions and stuff, and there were little immigrants. Where in North America, the Amerindians were being like moved and stuff to different areas. There was regionalism. Slavery was abolished in 1865. There were immigrants and acculturation.
Alright, last time here at social cultural. Okay, so in Latin America, Cuba had become a communist paradise. Yeah, paradise. And this was when America came in with the Bay of Pigs invasion, which didn't go well. And then there was a Cuban Missile Crisis when the USSR was giving them missiles. But there was also during this time period increased freedom for women in both North America and South America and Central America. And Mexican art is flourishing during this time period. And there is a strong Amerindian influence in Latin America. There's also more birth control and divorce rates are increasing.
From 8000 BC to 600 BC, there was just
Technology, foundations, be quiet.
the Olmec were referred to as the rubber people, so presumably they had rubber.
Up close to your mouth.
Agriculturally, they had beans, peppers, avocados,
Okay, that's
squash,
not
maize.
technology.
Well, there was.
Yes, there was. How did they harvest those things? How did they get any water to those things? It's not a river valley civilization.
Is it too late to bring a little girl in here?
They had irrigation.
Hey, guys.
They had irrigation.
Yeah, how?
I don't know.
They make channels.
They made
Not funnels, channels. How do they fight each other?
Spears.
They all hit each other with rocks.
Alrighty then, well, this is time period 2, technology. Alright, so they had arrows, bows, swords, bronze, silver, a professional army, roads, tunnels, woven cloth, and farming tools.
We have tunnels? Where do we have tunnels?
It said it, but it said it's
Alright, time period 3. Come on, guys, let's go. Stand up.
Okay, so we got the Mayan calendar, the new number system that included 0 ago. There is a field system. The Kung Fu. The recorded census data. Alias. We have roots and river-based irrigation.
Be quiet. Alright, next time period. Guys, quiet! We're almost halfway through.
Okay, this is the time.
Excuse me, who's listening? All right, thank you.
This is the time period where Europe began to explore the Americas, and the Americas were quickly overwhelmed with European technology and disease. There was the African slave trade and the Atlantic Circuit and the Middle Passage. There's silver mines, indentured servitude, and the Columbian Exchange. And I think Ben Franklin was alive during this time period, so you know he contributed to techno. Oh, really? No, okay. Never mind then. Okay, not yet. Never mind.
Alright, next time period 5, technology.
Alright, so John Kay.
Guys! Shush!
John Kay made a spinning jenny. And the telegraph was invented in 1837. The airplane in 1903. Telephone in 1876. The light bulb in 1879. Henry Ford was known for the assembly line, and they're also interchangeable parts.
There are lots of innovations during this time period. All right, now the last time period, even more. No, I'm just saying. No, don't talk. Right. Hey, go ahead.
Alright, and the last time period we have the space race
Guys,
with the
shush.
satellites. We have nuclear warfare with the invention of nuclear bombs and the atomic bomb and stuff. We have the invention of airplanes, automobiles, cell phones, computers, video games. Technology.
What does that lead to? Why is that important to note? Interconnectedness. Big interconnectedness. All right, we're on to our final. Wait, economics ladies, are you done? All right, so we're going to pick up the time period 2 economics before we move on. All right, guys, we're backtracking to economics time period 2. Come on, guys. You guys are the worst grabbers of passing the microphone. You're making MCA Well, the girls are the only people apparently doing anything over here. Hey, shush!
In time period 2, ways were developed to make weapons and missiles. There weren't any major river systems for agriculture, and there was irrigation and constructed scale.
Alright, quiet down. Okay, the last section is religion and ideologies in the first time period. It's going to be pretty easy. Remember, most of your early civilizations around the world are polytheistic from the very beginning. Guys, quiet it down. We're almost done.
praised many deities such as rain gods, fire gods, and wind gods. He praised many deities such as rain gods, fire gods, and wind gods.
Hey, so this is the time period that you guys should be most interested in because it's the most violent. Okay, this is where you get everybody with the bloodletting ceremonies. Everybody wants to sacrifice people and eat their hearts. Literally. How is it that you missed that? Alright, second time period. Don't try blaming other people. Each and every one of you. Shh. Each and every one of you is responsible for this material. You're each taking this exam on your own. It's not collaborative.
Alright. 600 BC to 600 CE, they were polytheistic and there were sacrifices.
Alright, time period 3. Please don't disappoint. Alright, quiet down. Hey, you in the middle, be quiet. I can hear you all the way over there. Quiet, Evan.
Okay, religion was central to my life with a pantheon of gods important to sustain agriculture. Rituals of human sacrifice priests had magical powers that gave them access to the underworld. Mayan believers thought that it was important to please God. Aztecs had a large and powerful group of priests, served as advisors to the king. And Inca religion was polytheistic.
Alright, time period 4. Who's got time period 4, social and cultural? Or here in the middle. Alright, pick somebody to talk. Don't throw things, it's throw rude.
Here, let him say it. Let him say it.
Christianity was spread pope. Christianity was spread pope.
I think we're missing a word.
Just kidding. Christianity was spread. Period. Space pope.
Maybe you shouldn't read that.
It was a polytheistic religion, worshipped the sun and Inca.
Oh my God.
He's right.
Columbus.
Alright. Shush. He's not wrong. The Inca was the divinity of the king. Okay, so yes, it refers to the group of people, but it's also the name of their ruler, who is also a god on earth. So no, he's not wrong. He just didn't quite understand what was written. No, what about Christianity? How does Christianity get there? What do the missionaries, guys, quiet. What do the missionaries do to the native religions? Why don't we know anything about the ancient Aztec religion? No, there is a written language. Alright, shush. They had a written language and the missionaries burned their sacred texts. That's why. Alright, next time period 5, religion. Okay, Christianity was brought over from Europe and
the Catholic Church was in South America, so yeah, Christianity. And then from the African slave trade, some African religions were brought over.
What?
Where did you get voodoo from?
Africa.
Alright, last time period. Evan, it's your time to shine.
Alright, shut up. I'm sorry.
That's not a nice word.
They were talking, and I got angry. Alright, so religion time period 6. There's a majority of Christians in North America. There's some Jews and Muslims. There's a 9/11 attack because the Muslims were angry at us. Because we angered them because we overstayed our welcome in Iraq or Iran. Not racist. Alright, and there's a lot of there's a lot of Catholic people in Latin America. Alright. We didn't write why. Because the Spanish, yeah. The Spanish.
Just the Spanish being there. Okay? That is why most people in South America speak Spanish, something that nobody mentioned, and why if you have to go to Brazil, what language do you need to know?
Portuguese.
Very good. And if you go to Quebec, what language?
French.
See how that works? Okay. All right. Shush. North America and South America develop very differently, especially politically. Okay, so keep that in mind. It has everything to do with who settled where and when and how things happen. Remember, what did they do to poor King Pedro?
Ran him out.
He's forced to abdicate, and his 5-year-old son gets to take over.
Yay!
Yes. All right, I will leave this up just for a few minutes. So if you wanted to write things down or take pictures, fine. It'll be in the hallway with the others afterwards. If you did not sign in before you leave. I will put it over here.
Thank you, loyal viewers. The game.
Yeah, I'm Alex too because I'm a smart one.
Yes, we already missed it. Oh, also, do you know French?
Do I know French?
Yes.